Hello friends, I'm continuing with my Django Ajax CRUD series, and in this video I will be talking about validation in JavaScript. As you can see over here, at the time when I load this particular page, the button is disabled initially. So that means I will not be allowed to click on this button until I fill these two DOM elements. Let me show you how it is working. I put the cursor on the first DOM considering that I will give some input. What if I do not give the input, rather I lift my cursor? As I do that, immediately it detects all the DOM which do not contain input, and it gives an appropriate error message that came automatically as I lifted my cursor. So it shows that stream name cannot be blank, stream description cannot be blank. So that means JavaScript is detecting the content of all the DOM elements. Okay, that's great, isn't it? I put the cursor over here with consideration that I will now give the input. Suppose I give the input as B. The moment I started typing, immediately the error message goes off. That's really great, right? What if I keep it a single letter B and I lift my cursor once again? Immediately it says that the stream name must be 2 characters long at least, and I have just given a single character. Okay, I put the cursor again and I press the number 1. Well, again, as I started typing, the error message goes off. But if I lift my cursor again, it will say stream name must contain only alphabet and space. That means if I give something like this, BCA, okay, great. If I put a space over here and then I write new, I lift my cursor, yes, there is no error message. So that means I've considered 3 things. Firstly, a blank space cannot be blank. Secondly, a single letter not possible. Thirdly, a numeric value not possible. Otherwise, if I give like this, it is absolutely correct. Okay, so how did I achieve this part? Let me show you, and keep it in mind the button is still disabled. So I move to my VS Code now, and let me close all the tab so that it will be easy for you to figure out. The first and the foremost thing is that since I'm working on the validation part, that brings us to JavaScript. So I will go to static, I will go to JS, and here I have introduced a new JS file that is called stream_validation, because all these validation are confined to the string app. That's the reason I have given the name as stream_validation for my easy detection of the validation files. So here is my code. Well, there are a couple of functions which we will explore them. Don't worry about this. Now, how this validation is getting invoked? Well, for that reason we have to go to base. We have to, the template, then the base.html. If you see over here, I have given a call to my static JavaScript file with the help of static keyword or with the help of Django template tag. Okay, so this is something which I have done with the help of Django template tag. So that's how the very moment when the page gets loaded, immediately the validation is also been invoked right at the very beginning. Okay, along with that I also had a CSS file, just did some basic modification of the Bootstrap class that is called alert-danger, because if you notice minutely, then you will see something. As I put the cursor over here or over here, suppose this particular statement is actually been invoking, I'm invoking the Bootstrap danger class, but over there by default the danger class has got a background color, has got a border outline. I didn't like that, so I removed all those things, and for that reason I've overwritten the basic Bootstrap class called alert-danger, and this is also I'm invoking right from here. This is the line. So this is my this is where the JavaScript comes in picture, and this is where the CSS comes in picture with the help of static. Okay, so this is something which you need to keep it in mind. I have kept this file inside the JS folder. I have kept this file inside the CSS folder. That's what you can see right over here. Okay, so far so good. Now let's come to my template. So here is my template, because this template is where everything gets invoked. Let me show you how the things are working. So this is my first, as we know that there is a form, so form I have given a name so that later on I can reset the content of the form. I will show you that. Now look over here, this is a new event which I have added over here, couple of events. One is on blur. On blur means as you lift the cursor from the DOM, it is going to give a call to this particular JavaScript function. I have given the name as validateStream, which I have defined right over here, validateStream, that's what I'm calling. Same function I'm calling from description also. The moment I lift my cursor, the event JavaScript event handler gets called. And as I start to type, when I'm typing something, I'm giving a call to the event handler called on input, because you are giving input to your DOM. So for that reason, it gives a call to the JavaScript event called on input, and it is going to give a call to another function called clear error. This is the line that this is the function that I'm giving a call. And what I'm passing over here, I'm passing the name of my empty div tag, because this is the div where the error message is been shown. So what I'm doing over here is, as I start to type, I'm passing this particular div tag so that the existing error which has been shown over there, that should be removed. Let me show you what I mean. Suppose over here I have got the error message. Now as I start to type, so this is on type, see the error message goes off. This is what actually been possible if I have given a call to the error handler, JavaScript event handler on input, which is calling a function. Give the name whatever you feel like. I gave the name as clear error, and I'm passing a parameter. What is the parameter? The name of the div tag, which is basically the div who hold the error message, like over here the div tag which hold the error message, that should be made empty, and that's the reason why I'm giving a call document.get element by id. So whatever id I've given, that comes over here .inner HTML, and basically I'm removing the content, the error content that has been shown off. Isn't it a cool function? Yes. So that's how the on input JavaScript event handler is working, where you are giving a call to the same function, passing only the respective div that handles the error message. Okay. So now let's focus on the on blur. That means the moment I lift my cursor from the DOM, what actually happens inside this particular function. So this is the main function that takes care about the validation. So let's move on to this function. Okay, let me expand this right over here. So in my HTML, I have got the text box by the name called stream name. I have a div tag by the name called error. So this is my text box that is called stream name, and here to show the error I have created a specific div tag by the name called stream name error. Okay, same goes over here. I have a description, the name, and the empty div tag by the name called description error. So I need to identify these DOMs, and that's what I'm doing right over here. I identify the DOM, I kept it as a reference over here, I identified the div tag, kept a reference over here, and whatever input the user is providing through this particular DOM that gets stored inside this variable, let me pick up that input and pass it to this variable called name. Okay, the same thing I'm doing over here. What I have identified the DOM, the reference got stored inside this variable, and whatever input user has given, the text area that been captured and stored inside this. And the div tag for the errors, or the div tag right over here, stays as a reference in this particular variables. So now what I'm doing is that I'm declaring a boolean variable called is valid, because I don't know whether the input is valid or not. So for that reason I have created this particular variable. Initially whatever error, like in case if there was any error, those for the stream name and for the description, let me remove those content. Okay, I believe you are acquainted with this particular syntax. In fact, I have got a couple of videos in regard to regular expression. You will get this in the Python series. So if you go and check, you will come across all these particular regular expression more in details. So over here, what I have considered is the uppercase, the lowercase, and the blank space. So /s represent the blank space. So that's how the regular expression has been created, and I store inside the variable called regex. Now I'm going to check whether this particular variable contains any value or not. If it do not contain, then I will be activating the div tag over here .inner HTML, and I will pass this following message which you already saw at the very beginning, and I'm giving a call to the Bootstrap class, and this is the class which I have met the modification as I showed you over here. Let me show you. This is the modification because I didn't like the background color, I didn't like the outline borders. I removed them and I did the customization over here. So in case if the variable do not contain any value, this would be the error message that will be shown, and the boolean variable will be stored as false. So control will come out of this. Neither of the condition is going to true. So over here the button remains disabled and I'm passing is invalid, that is false. Hence Ajax will not call. You remember Ajax? Don't forget Ajax, okay? Now what if user has given the input? Now we have to test the input whether the input is valid or not following this regular expression. What if the input is just a number? In that case, if the regular expression fails, see not is there, if the regular expression fails, in that case this particular message will be shown, the invalid will be false, neither of this condition will work, the button stays as false and is false when returned, hence Ajax will not call. Okay, I gave the valid input but my length was just below 2. In that case this particular message will be shown, the valid will be false, none of this will work, and then it will stay the button as disabled and it will return false. Ajax will not get called. Similarly, I'm doing the same thing right over here. Now imagine if all the validation is true, so my is valid will be true, right? From the very beginning it has been true, so neither of this condition got executed, so is valid will be true. Hence if it is true, in that case the button has now been enabled. So that's how the button toggling is going on. So the button get enabled and it returns is valid as true, so that the Ajax can proceed further. So let's consider, let me reload the tab, let me consider, like I give the input as BCA with a blank space, suppose new, it's a valid one, no message came. Let me provide the input over here. This is meant for all students. Great. As I lift the cursor up, the button is now enabled. Wow, great. Now as I provide the input, I click on the save button, this record will be stored in my table and it will populate inside my table, right? So the moment I will click this, Ajax get invoked. So let me bring you right over here. Ajax gets invoked and here are we. So as I click on this, Ajax get invoked. So this is a function because the button name is that right over here. You remember the button name stream register. So that brings right over here. So whatever input I have given, everything, all these things I have discussed, I will not talk about that. What I would be focusing primarily is once the success been done, that means the data is been populated in my table, I will reset the form. That means all the content which I have given right over here, these content will be made blank because you are resetting the form, and again I'm disabling the button. The button is been disabled again because it would be again this another input probably you are going for, so you need to disable the button. Okay, so that's something you have to keep it in mind. So let me click this button. As I do that, bingo, the message comes over here, the data comes over here, and the button is disabled, so that I can go for the next input. Let me try again. Suppose I lift my cursor, the message flash. If I give single character, the message flash. If I give a numeric value, the message flash. If I write MCA, great, nothing appear. If I give a name over here, if I write a single character, message flash. So this is meant for BCA, and I put the cursor over here, the button is now enabled. I can simply go and click on this. Eventually the record gets saved with the message popped up, stays for a while, and it goes off, and the page has been completely fresh, the button is disabled, and that data appear in my tuple right over here. Really cool application. So make sure this is what you need to follow for all the upcoming pages that you are going to do, and that's how your project will be much less bug free. Okay, so that's all from this video presentation. See you soon. Bye bye.